Fran Berrick. She's with Spearmint Coaching.
Okay.
And we are looking, it's a new year, maybe a new you, maybe a new job, but it's a little bit of a tough job market. I think we can learn a lot.
I think so. And Fran, thank you for your time this morning. We so appreciate it. And we've been looking forward to this. Where do we begin when we're thinking about, okay, as Ron mentioned, new year, and I'm thinking of a career change. What's the first thing we should be looking at?
Right. Well, first of all, the new year is like a reset, professional reset button for so many people, Celeste, right? We've just spent time with the holidays with family, have a new perspective, and there's this great collective energy around resolutions that makes it all kind of feel possible. Also, I work with a lot of clients who've just had their year-end reviews or bonuses that perhaps they weren't so satisfied with, and that kind of crystallizes a lot of sort of introspective energy into what they may do next.
All right, so let's get into the practical aspects of it. 1.2 million people in tech were laid off last year. Just yesterday, we had a story that Amazon said they're moving forward with their plans they already cut 14,000 jobs last year. This year, their goal is to ultimately cut 30,000 jobs. And they even said it's because of AI in large part. How do you go out and win this battle? Get out there where you know there's maybe more competition in a lot of those kinds of fields than ever before, and yet really stand out.
Well, here, I think that this is a very, in what you've just shared with me, this is a very straightforward process. With clients who are in this sort of position, I'm all about sort of setting very smart goals. When I say smart, I mean specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, time sensitive, and then creating really strong, concise marketing materials, a resume and LinkedIn that will give them confidence and clarity to support those goals. Once you have all those systems, like that strong foundation in place, you can build a lot of early momentum. And I find it gives people a tremendous amount of confidence. And then once you start deploying, I'm a big cheerleader in celebrating every little win, every great interview, every great networking conversation, keeping track of all of that. And I can't stress it enough. If you are in that position where you have to, push forward strong, try to do the things that fill you up. As I always say, you can't pour from an empty cup. It's important to kind of to recharge, to avoid that kind of, career surge burnout.
Fran, I'm a big believer in constantly learning. That's the one thing I love about this job. Don't you think, Ron? We're constantly learning, like from people like you. Yeah. You mentioned LinkedIn. LinkedIn does have courses. They have courses in Excel or Word or leadership. Yes. When you take those courses, should those be included in like your LinkedIn quote unquote resume? And how do you use those things that you've done above and beyond your current job and those skills as a selling point for that new gig?
Celeste, I love that question. Okay, I am all about, if you have an area of interest, formalizing it, whether it's LinkedIn, Coursera, there are a myriad of online courses that you could take to formalize an interest in project management, in any area that will kind of add to your wheelhouse. You can add the badge of a certification right on LinkedIn. LinkedIn makes it super easy. But for example, when I've taken any kind of assessments or tools that I use, I get my accreditation button and I edit to that part of LinkedIn. It's really super easy to do. Can I share a quick little story?
Absolutely. Go for it.
Client who after doing a career audit decided that he really needed visibility and quite frankly the benefits to, this was kind of mid-COVID, and decided he had to stay put and to enrich his professional life in an area he was specifically interested. He was a fashion guy. He had been there for 20 some odd years. And one of his areas of real interest was fashion sustainability. And he took a year-long course. He was running a real long race in that area from an accredited university, and made a determination that he would focus his networking, a great network, but not in this one area. And after formalizing, his credentials, working those bona fides and his network, he landed his dream job 18 months
wow.
later. It's a natural evolution of, like what you said, like pursuing, this is an area of interest for me. Because the other thing is, sometimes when people do that, they find that, this doesn't interest me as much
right.
as I thought it would. And that's fine too. You can be flexible in your goals. I always say to clients, we have presumed goals, and you have the right to change your mind at any time based on real-time, information that you're getting.
And I think what you mentioned too is quite important. It's he couldn't, in the example with your client, he couldn't leave his job because he needed the benefits. But that doesn't mean that we stop growing or learning or evolving. And I think that is also maybe right now somebody can't leave their job, right? Because they got to put food on the table for the family. But there are things that we can do other than maybe the LinkedIn stuff. What are some tips you can give us on networking with people?
Right. Yeah. I think networking should come out of a genuine place of curiosity, right?
Hey,
so to me, it's about meeting interesting people who you share a common, whether it's a professional or a personal interest, and kind of always growing that network. I think consistency beats intensity every single time. So if you can add to your, if you're constantly, on the lookout for new and different people to meet and building your circle with coffee chats, Zoom calls, other joint activities, I think that constant, steady diet will help grow your network naturally and organically. So you're never in a position where, I've started with clients who, when I put them up on LinkedIn, have 4 or 5 contacts. We don't want to go there. We want to start building slowly and surely.
Great ideas, Fran. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
And you can connect with Fran at Spearmint Coaching. That's Spearmint Coaching. Fran, thanks. Hopefully we can chat again.